What if global chaos isn't political failure, but a carefully sustained spiritual system that feeds on conflict? Before the music rises, before the image fades in, before your mind tries to protect itself, let that question sit inside you for a moment. Because if that sentence feels uncomfortable, it's because something inside you already recognizes it as true. I'm not speaking to you as a philosopher. I'm not speaking to you as a preacher. I'm speaking to you as a grandfather who has watched the same invisible mechanism drain generation after generation. While everyone blamed the wrong causes, people today say they are tired, but they don't mean physically tired. They mean something much deeper. They wake up exhausted. They sleep but don't recover. They rest but never feel restored. And what frightens me is that they believe this is normal. When I was young, exhaustion had a reason. You worked the land. You fought wars. You carried weight with your body. Today, people are drained by doing nothing. That is not fatigue. That is extraction. And here is the first truth most people are not ready to hear. You are not emotionally drained because life is hard. You are emotionally drained because your emotions are being used, harvested, slowly, continuously, invisibly. Long before modern psychology existed, ancient traditions warned about this exact phenomenon. They spoke of unseen forces that could not create life, only feed on it. Forces that thrived not on flesh, but on attention, on emotion, on fear, on despair. They understood something we forgot. Emotion is energy in motion, and energy once released does not disappear. It transfers. Every time you feel intense fear without resolution, energy is released. Every time anger surges through you and has nowhere to go, energy is released. Every time guilt tightens your chest, energy is released. Now ask yourself, where does it go? You are taught to believe emotions are private experiences, chemical reactions, personal struggles. But if that were true, why would entire systems be built to provoke them? Why is fear the foundation of news cycles? Why is outrage the currency of social media? Why is anxiety rewarded and calm punished? Why does peace feel unnatural, while chaos feels constant? Because peace produces nothing to harvest. Chaos does. I want you to imagine something. A vast invisible network surrounding humanity, not made of wires or machines, but of emotional currents. Every human mind connected, every unresolved trauma acting like an open wound. Now imagine entities, systems, forces, intelligences that cannot generate energy on their own. They don't need to attack you. They only need to provoke you. Because the moment you react unconsciously, you feed them. This is why nothing is ever allowed to resolve. Wars never end, they transform. Crises never heal, they mutate. Enemies are never defeated, they are recycled. The goal is not victory. The goal is continuation. And the fuel is you, your anxiety, your outrage, your despair, your endless emotional reactions. Have you noticed how the world feels like it's always on the brink, but never quite collapses? That is not instability. That is balance. A balance designed to keep humanity emotionally leaking, but never awakening fully. And here's where it becomes personal. The most harvested people are not the weak. They are the sensitive, the empathic, the introspective, the ones who feel deeply, the ones who question reality, the ones who sense that something is wrong, but can't quite name it. If you feel emotionally exhausted in a way others don't seem to understand, that is not a defect. It is exposure. Because sensitivity is an open channel, and open channels attract extraction. This is why the kindest people are often the most drained, why healers burn out, why those who try to save everyone end up empty. They were never taught how to protect their energy. They were taught to give it away. Let me tell you something my grandfather told me long before I understood it. Anything that feeds on your emotions without your consent is not part of you. At the time, I thought he meant toxic people. He meant much more. Because energy harvesting does not only happen through global systems. It happens through relationships. Unresolved people unconsciously drain others. Traumatized minds feed on attention. Chaotic souls provoke conflict to feel alive. You've felt it. Conversations that leave you exhausted. People who always bring drama. Relationships that feel heavy, confusing, draining. They are not evil. They are hungry. And hunger seeks energy. This is why some people can only connect through pain. Why they escalate arguments. Why peace makes them uncomfortable. Because peace offers no emotional charge. And emotional charge is their nourishment. Now listen carefully. The most dangerous form of energy harvesting is not fear. It is guilt. Guilt keeps you giving when you should stop. Guilt keeps you available when you should rest. Guilt convinces you that boundaries are selfish. And once guilt takes root, your energy flows outward endlessly. You say yes when your soul says no. You carry emotions that are not yours. You feel responsible for fixing everyone. That is not compassion. That is conditioning. True compassion does not drain you. Only exploitation does. And here is where the system becomes truly sinister. It convinces you that exhaustion is your fault. You need better habits. You need more discipline. You need more healing. You need to raise your vibration, so you try harder. You meditate more. You consume more content. You search endlessly for answers. And the extraction continues. Because effort without awareness only deepens the leak. Let me say something that might shock you. Rest is an act of rebellion. Stillness starves the system. Silence disrupts harvesting. Presence seals energetic leaks. That is why you are kept distracted. Noise prevents integration. Stimulation prevents awareness. Emotional overload prevents sovereignty. If you were truly present, you would feel when something is draining you, and you would stop. This is why ancient spiritual teachings emphasize detachment, observation, and inner silence. Not to escape the world, but to become unharvestable. Because the moment you stop reacting automatically, the system loses access. Now here is the turning point. Energy harvesting only works when you are unconscious of it. The moment you see it, the dynamic changes. When you pause instead of reacting, you reclaim energy. When you feel emotion without feeding it outward, you reclaim energy. When you set boundaries without guilt, you reclaim energy. This is why awareness is dangerous. A conscious human leaks less, and a population that leaks less cannot be controlled the same way. This is why spiritual knowledge was always hidden, fragmented, distorted, turned into religion, ideology, or fantasy. Because true spiritual knowledge leads to sovereignty, and sovereignty ends harvesting. Let me tell you the truth I wish someone had told me earlier in life. You are never meant to be constantly emotionally available. You are never meant to carry the weight of the world. You are never meant to feel guilty for resting. Your energy is sacred. Your attention is sacred. Your emotional body is sacred. Anything that demands constant emotional output from you without restoration is not aligned with your soul. And now, before we go any further, I want you to do something important. Subscribe to this channel and like this video, not for the algorithm, but because what we uncover here is not entertainment. It is protection. Most people will never hear this message at the right time. You did. And that is not an accident. As this awareness settles in, you may notice something unsettling. You will start to see where your energy leaks. Certain news, certain conversations, certain people, certain thoughts you replay endlessly. Those loops are feeding something, and the moment you interrupt them, you will feel resistance. Because what feeds does not let go easily. But do not be afraid. You are not cutting yourself off from life. You are reclaiming it. And here is the final truth I leave you with. You are not emotionally drained because you are broken. You are drained because you are powerful. And power attracts harvesters. But awareness turns prey into sovereign beings. And sovereignty cannot be consumed. If this message resonated with you, leave a comment telling me, where do you feel your energy leaking the most? Like this video so others can reclaim themselves. Subscribe so we can continue walking this path together. And remember, the moment you stop feeding what drains you, your light returns naturally, not because you fought harder, but because you finally remembered who you are.